Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of LaunchPad. And in this episode, we're going to be talking all about AI tools and the cream of the crop, not just any old AI tools. We're going to be talking about the good, the bad, and the ugly, and specifically the tools that Tina and I use every day in our agencies to speed up our workflow. All that and much more coming up right after this. Hey everyone, and like I said in the introduction, you are tuning into LaunchPad, and I am, as always, joined with the lovely Tina Hay from Puzzle Media. Thanks for coming in again, Tina.
Hello, Stuart. Nice to be here.
So let's talk about AI tools. I feel like this is a necessary topic because if you go on social media, you are constantly seeing AI tools, this, that. It's turning into a bit of a buzzword, and there are thousands of AI tools popping up all over the place. Most of them are junk, I would say, that I've seen, but there are definitely some standouts and ones that we use all the time in our agency, and I'm sure you're the same. What are your thoughts? What are kind of your top picks?
Yeah, so I'm going to kick us off with Jasper. Used to be called, but before Jasper, it was called Jarvis, and before Jarvis, it was called Conversion.ai.
Yeah,
just Conversion. Right. So we were introduced to this through a mastermind group that I was part of other agency owners doing Facebook ads in particular. And so I was introduced to it. It was probably about 2 or 3 years ago, to be honest. And so when it launched, it was in its raw form. And all it was doing was it was helping you come up with some good headlines and copy for some basic bits and pieces, such as Facebook advertising, which is what we were using it for. I think maybe blog posts, maybe emails at that time. And it had 2 functions. So I'm going to talk about the kind of evolution of it. You could go in and put your content in there and it would help you improve it. And then it also had the capability for you to give a little bit of information. So, please write content for a digital marketing agency. This is our audience. This is a link to our website. This is the tone that we want. And it would spit out 2 or 3 different variations. So it was great. It's evolved quite a lot over the years. So you can use it for SEO descriptions now. You can use it to just write a heap of content unprompted. You can add links to websites in there with clear instructions of what you're wanting. And it's something that we have used predominantly for that content improvement. So the team have used it when we want to come up with really catchy headlines, and we've got a couple, but they're not quite hitting the mark. So using it to improve our content that our content writers are writing. We've used it for blog posts, and we've played around with it. I have found that, and I'll talk about ChatGPT later, but some of the content when it's not prompted is just very, very vanilla. And I think I feel like I've said this, and we've talked about this a little bit over the last few weeks with, when using that AI to write content, it can be a little bit vanilla, and so quite Americanized as well. And so you really need to be clear that we're in Australia, if it's an Australian brand, obviously, that you're working with, or that you're trying to write content for. But Jasper has it's got some great tools. I am a huge fan, specifically for just some of those kind of older, old school way of doing things. So, get attention, information, that kind of process for writing content and that structure. the content it spits out is only as good as what you put in. But yeah, we absolutely love it. We think it's great.
Yeah, I think, and we talked about this, I think it was in the last episode, where, for a lot of AI tools, particularly AI writing tools like Jasper and ChatGPT, they can both produce good stuff, but it is definitely a garbage in, garbage out scenario. If you provide a prompt that is not very thorough, doesn't provide clear direction on what you want, then you're probably going to get some low quality trash content out the other side. And you can see, automated writing tools are not new. They've been, they used to be called article spinners back in the day. And you can see articles that are being written too heavily by AI because they're really, like you say, generic, surface level. It's the kind of article where you read it and you go, man, there are a lot of words, but they didn't really say anything. And they're not really making any unique points or claims or highlighting any interesting insights. It's just sort of saying a bunch of stuff without saying anything. So, and the guys that run Jasper are pretty clear that this is not, you should not use these tools as a sole resource to the entire article.
Yeah, absolutely.
When we use these tools, we still have a human, good quality professional writer, and they are using this tool. So a lot of people say use it to get rid of writer's block and to highlight ideas and whatnot that you wouldn't have come up with. And so I still consider the articles that we generate kind of human written articles, but it just accelerates the process of writing what that writer, might have taken them an hour, now might take them 10 minutes or 15 minutes. So it speeds up the process, but the quality is definitely dependent on the operator.
Definitely agree with that. And I do think, I do feel like I'm repeating myself a bit, but I feel like where AI really doesn't quite get it right is that tone of voice and just getting that. And I think without a professional writer to, weave that in and edit it so it sounds like the brand that's being represented, you kind of miss out, because the whole point of having that tone of voice as a business, as an agent, as a brand, is so you connect with your audience. And so if you don't quite get that right, that will be the ones, like you say, Stuart, you'll read it and you'll say, that was a lot of words, and there was some information in there, but I didn't connect to it. So,
and because those tools are kind of when you ask it to write about, florists or whatever, it's gleaning that information and going, okay, well, here is what I've seen, and here is, and it's going to produce content that sort of looks and sounds like what it's seen. So it's not really geared in and of itself to create something that is unique and high quality. You're going to end up with an article by default that sort of looks like all the other articles out there on that topic. It requires a human to do a bit of research, do the fact checking, and go, hey, this is the stat or the piece of data or the story that I want to talk about, and then use AI to accelerate that process of writing. I also think it's interesting, when you're talking about Jasper costs, I don't know, I forget the plan, it's like $100 a month or something like that from memory, when ChatGPT is free. So why would you use Jasper when ChatGPT costs nothing? In my view, like, ChatGPT can definitely create some good stuff. I've found that tools like Jasper have some nice workflows and automations and other features that ChatGPT does not have. And it's kind of more structured to work with individual projects or campaigns or agencies and things like that, that ChatGPT just kind of doesn't have natively. Is that sort of how you see it?
100%. And, we did, when ChatGPT launched, we played around with it a lot. And I asked the question, to the team, because they're the ones that are in there using it actively on a daily basis. I said, okay, do we need to continue with Jasper? And straight away, everyone was like, no, don't get rid of Jasper. We love Jasper. Please don't get rid of it. ChatGPT is great for those initial ideas. Trying to get ChatGPT to write content, I just don't find it's there. I just find that the amount of time it takes to edit we either write it from scratch ourselves, or we write it and then use Jasper to refine it.
Yeah.
And so that's pretty much how we're using it. Although ChatGPT, which, I think is great for just coming up with some initial ideas. So, the florist example, it could be, please give me 10 topics to write about, blogs about, that's going to help optimize my website for being a florist on the Gold Coast, or something like that. And so you get those initial ideas that you can then go away and either write that content, or, if you're going to use something like ChatGPT to write content, I highly, highly recommend that you're heavily editing that as well.
I want to shift gears a little bit.
Let's shift gears.
I'm going to talk about a service called Munch. Have you heard about it?
No, I haven't.
I have been trying to find something that is good at repurposing video content. There are a ton out there.
Yep.
Almost all of them I've tested are horrible.
Okay.
And, they do the job, but it's like, man, it's almost just as fast to just manually edit this stuff in Premiere or whatever.
Yeah.
Because it sort of does it, but just doesn't get it quite right. And it's just, it's not really speeding the workflow up. Munch, so far, I've found is really good. And essentially what you do is this: you take a long form video, like a podcast or some other video, you stick that into Munch, and then you tell it, okay, I want to generate some short form snippets for TikTok, for Instagram, for LinkedIn, because all of these services have different orientations and formats, different restrictions on the length of the clip. Its AI will then go, okay, cool, Instagram stories, there's certain formats and time restrictions there. It will go through and try to pick out snippets and go, here it is, here are the subtitles burnt in, like Alex Hormozy does. It's a really popular style right now, but everyone's doing those burnt in subtitles. It will automatically generate those, and then you can essentially post it directly from there, or you can download it and, do whatever you're going to do with it from there. So far, it is the best one that I've tried. I'm
definitely going to check that out. No, we have not used that one. Ooh. I'm checking with the team. I have definitely not heard of that one. Is it expensive? What's the price point?
This is just a massive sales pitch for these AI tools. Oh, by the way, here's all our affiliate links.
And here's our affiliate links. Actually, you need to get yourself some affiliate links.
Okay, so their Pro plan, which is their lowest plan, is $49 a month.
Oh, wow.
Guessing that's US. Not too bad.
That's really good.
So far, I've found that it does the best job of editing and picking good quality clips. I've used some others like Opus Pro and Content Fries and a couple of others, and they all sort of do it, but they're really hard to use. Opus Pro is very easy to use, but I actually found that it's really hit and miss with whether the clips that it generates actually even make sense, or if that it's kind of cutting together stuff that's like, ugh. And then you end up manually editing clips and then pushing it into Opus so that it will just format this one thing. It's like, well, it's 90% of the job. I may as well just manually do it myself.
I love that it does the different fonts and size and length of video as well, because that's something that is, when we're doing content, it is something that takes a while to play around with. So that's really cool. I love it. I'm going to go and check it out.
Yeah, they're really cool. I reckon I've been testing out those video repurposing tools for about 2 months, and it's been a horrible experience.
Oh, gosh.
Because it's so, everything with video, it's time consuming. You've got to review it and then you've almost got to go through and test the process.
Yeah.
And go, is this actually saving me time?
Well, exactly.
Or does it just look good on paper? Which most of the time it's like, no, I'm actually just spending just as much time screwing around with these tools.
Yeah, absolutely.
So what's the next on your list?
I was going to talk about ChatGPT, which we did start talking about. So I think, we can't do something on AI and not mention it. It's great. I think it's really good. I think it depends what you're using it for. Like I said, we're using it to generate some ideas is how we're using it. So around blog topics, email subject lines, we're using it for just general ideas. I've used it for, like, personally, for things like, do me a meal plan for a family of 5 for 7 days and include, you know, chicken and beef and what have you. That's quite cool. It gives you a shopping list as well.
Wow.
So, you know, it gives you a meal plan. You go, okay, great. Can you create my shopping list? It doesn't then submit it to Woolies for click and collect, unfortunately. That's missing a step because that would make my life a lot easier.
Yeah.
But yeah, we are definitely using ChatGPT. I feel like with these these AI tools, I always feel like there's so much more we could be using it for, but, you know, that's what we've been using it for predominantly, I guess, as a business. I do know of people that are using it so I do know someone that has created an online course. Use it. Now, they had information for the online course already mapped out, but they have used ChatGPT to basically nut out that course, and now they're working with an online business manager to basically bring that to life and make it more them. So again, it's that having that outline. So, you know, the prompts would have been something like, you know, I want to create a course to teach people how to run a successful business. These are the topics I want to cover, you know, looking at numbers, looking at marketing, looking at, you know, your mindset. So using it that way to kind of give that outline. And I think they actually had a course that I don't think it was fully developed, but they had some kind of course before. So they use that as well. But that's quite, you know, that's just another example, I guess, of how other people are using it. Yeah. How are you guys using it?
We rarely use ChatGPT.
Yeah.
We do use it, but it's kind of specific use cases, and compared to Jasper, it's definitely in the minority.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're definitely, it's fun to muck around with, and obviously it's free, and that's awesome. But there are definitely specific times when I absolutely do not use ChatGPT. So yeah, it's kind of horses for courses for me. You know, there are certain things where it's like, this is definitely not a ChatGPT thing that I'm working on right now.
Yeah,
but you know, at the same time, if I'm if I'm laying in bed and I just want to have a mess around, I'll jump on ChatGPT and just kind of see what it does, basically.
Yeah, fair enough.
And I've also been experimenting with Bing, because obviously they're integrating that.
Okay.
And after we talked about it originally, I've been sort of looking at how so from what I've seen, they kind of give you a handful of sort of free prompts that you can use in a session. And then if you want to use more, I believe you have to go, I think do you have to assign or load up the Bing browser, the Microsoft browser?
Okay. So when you say you're using Bing, do you mean you're going into Bing, just Bing the browser? Or you're going into
hang
Bing?
on. I'm going to, where is it? Because I got the app on my phone. This is using the app on my phone. And I don't know if this is the same as if I do it on my browser on my computer, but on my phone it kind of gives you 5 prompts for free, and then if you want to go further, I think you need to either sign into your Microsoft account or there's something they push you to log in
to go and
software things. So it is kind of smart that they are, you know, leveraging it to force people into their products, essentially.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
But you know, that's a good thing to, you know, when you're walking around, and just to see what is this going to produce versus using ChatGPT versus Jasper or something else, because undoubtedly there will be, again, certain use cases where that is really good, and I assume Microsoft would have a plan of how to leverage this to force people away from Google and into the Microsoft ecosystem for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
You mentioned Canva before.
Yes. So, I mean, Canva is Canva is a tool that's been around for years, and it's great. We love using Canva for social media. Doesn't replace a graphic designer by any means, but if we, we have team members that with design experience that absolutely love Canva, super user friendly. But Canva has also got a couple of AI features within it. So I think it's called magic content. So it almost acts like a bit like Jasper and a bit like ChatGPT, where you can say, can you write content? We're not using it for that, but it's there. It's a feature. You can also, so basically you can go in and you can say, okay, I need to create content for social media agency, and it will start spitting out some content. There's also on there finding their images. So when you're looking for images, Canva's got a bank of stock images, and sometimes, stock images can look really stocky. And so if we don't have enough images from clients, we will go to stock images to find something for social media. So using some of the prompts that are available in the image finder as well, you can actually upload your own images and say, find images that are similar to this, which is pretty cool. So I know it's not necessarily like an AI tool, but there are features within it that lend itself very well to, I guess, this discussion.
Yeah, and I think what is the Microsoft? There's a Microsoft tool that appears to be kind of targeting Canva.
Microsoft tool targets
Microsoft Designer. Yeah, designer.microsoft.com.
Yeah.
So I had a little bit of a play when this initially came out, and I wasn't that thrilled with it, to be honest.
Okay.
But it's kind of a they bill it as this sort of AI-driven design tool where you give it a prompt and it can generate some social posts. I used it and I was like, this content is okay, but I wanted it had some features where you could, you could specify your brand colors and fonts and stuff.
Okay,
and I was like, oh, awesome.
Yeah.
But then I generated stuff and it did not respect. Yeah. It didn't use any of my brand colors or fonts. I was like, well, this is stupid. But that was in the really early days, so perhaps they've sorted some of that stuff out. But
I mean, Canva, for those that are not using it, they've got things like if you upload your, an image into Canva that you want to create social posts for, it will pick out the colors already for you. So you can, if you wanted to create some fonts or some shadows or some shapes around your image for whatever reason. So things like that. I think Canva, there were obviously there's AI tools behind it, but it's one that I'll go in and have a play around with, but I'm not allowed to touch it for client stuff because I'm not a Canva expert.
I actually find Canva super overwhelming to use. I'm like you. If I was in there every day, I'd probably
stars and shapes and my content team are just like, no, we're not doing that.
You're banned. It's if I was using it every day, I'd probably be fine with it.
Yeah,
but,
I know. It's one of those
every
things.
now and again when I go in, I'm like, I'm going to check out Canva again because I never, And then I go in there and I'm like,
5 minutes.
There is stuff everywhere.
Yeah, there is. There's a lot.
Don't know what I'm doing.
We use Canva to create video graphics sometimes, or like short videos for ads and for socials. And you can even upload, it's got this really cool tool where you upload, you create your video, you add your music overlay, and then you can get the images to kind of flick to the beat in time. So the transitions look really, really cool. So it's got stuff like that, which, again, I'm definitely not the Canva expert on the team, but yeah.
Have you seen Photoshop's the videos about Photoshop's generative AI?
No. Oh, yes, I have. Sorry. I thought you were going to say the video. No. Yes, I have. They're hilarious. We went and put the whole team's faces through there. We should really have put it on social. It was so funny.
It's so good. And
so funny.
I actually haven't personally used it. I think you got to download the beta or something to get access to the tool at the moment. So I haven't personally used it, but some of the examples are just awesome.
Yeah.
And you sort of think about those times where you're sifting through stock photo libraries or whatever, trying to find the perfect image. And that's cool if you find it. But if you just need this one specific thing, you can just highlight the thing and just modify. You could
Go
download a stock
yeah.
photo as a base if you wanted
Yeah.
to, and go, hey, change this icy pole to an
Yeah,
ice
yeah.
cream or something like
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
And it is amazing.
It
so
is.
cool.
I mean, wasn't there that story about someone that a load of images that got uploaded won photography awards, and they basically submitted them as snuck them in to see what would happen, and they actually won awards. I mean, it's that it can be really realistic. We didn't use the Photoshop one. We used another one. We used the not premium version of that, and ended up with, like 3 hands and stuff like that. Honestly, it was so funny.
Did you ever mess around with tools like Midjourney?
Oh my God, that rings a bell. What was that one?
Midjourney is like a Discord-based image generator.
Yeah, yeah.
And I haven't used it for ages, so I'm sure it's got a lot better.
Not that I have heard of it. It wasn't. No, I have used something else. I've heard of it.
I spent loads of time on Midjourney when it first came out, and the running joke was that any time a person had hands or fingers or feet, it was like the stuff of nightmares. They were mangled up like
8 fingers and stuff.
Just horrible stuff. But I find it so funny, and I'm sure it's gotten better since last time I used it. But it's so funny how AI is really awesome at making stuff that looks like other stuff.
Yeah.
But especially in the early days, certain things, I'd love to know why hands and feet and toes were so difficult.
Yeah, I know.
Because they were just like disgusting to look at.
I know, really gross. So it depends how kind of AI, Grammarly is Grammarly we've been using for many, many years, and is a great, I guess it is AI. It's a prompter. So those that don't know Grammarly, you write your content, you pop it in there, and it will basically tell you, it's like an English teacher, basically. It will tell you, how your grammar is. You can add things like what the tone of the content that you're putting in there. It's great for proofreading, editing. Again, it never replaces a human. None of this ever replaces a human. But it's, I love that as a tool. We've been using Grammarly for many years.
Yeah. And do you find that, I've been messing around with, sorry to bring it back to Jasper, but Jasper's, that browser extension that they have. So you can run commands and stuff. Yeah. I've occasionally used that to, if I'm writing an email and then I read it and I go, oh, this sort of comes across as like I'm being a bit snappy or and you write and go, make it sound more friendly. It's like, I wouldn't have done that.
Hey buddy. No, I know.
And it totally changes the tone. I've found that really useful.
Yeah, it is. We use, we've got Grammarly, so I've got it for the whole team. We use it on everyone's got it as an extension as well. So we use Grammarly on the extension as well, to just do spell checking and stuff like that. And just, you want things to look and sound a certain way. What I do really like Grammarly for is the plagiarism checker. Because not only does it say whether your content is plagiarized, it will tell you where it's plagiarized from. So it will give you that breakdown. And it will say, this content is 5% plagiarized, and it will link, 2% from this website or 1% from this website. And sometimes it might be just a line that is, I guess, a generic line that people use. So things like, I don't know, as a business, we are constantly evolving or something like that. So that could be quite generic, and they might pick up if it's more than, I think it's, 6 or 7 words. They might say, oh, well, we've seen this on here as well. But it's actually really good for that too. Not that anyone's trying to plagiarize here, but, if people are doing research and the content that they're providing is a little bit too close to
same to some,
because we don't want that flagged with Google.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. And that's the key, isn't it? To, this comes down to human editing and making sure that, are you actually creating something unique, or are you just making something that's just more or less like everything else out there?
Well,
and that is definitely the key with text content, especially.
Yeah, definitely. I've got one more, and Like this might be something that has been around for a while, but we've only just really come across it. Have you done much with Google Lens? Because
that's the image search thing.
Yeah. So if you are looking at something on Google and you right click on that image and do a search image. So say if it's a dress and you right click on the image and do search image, it will give you on the right hand side, and it comes up, it's called Google Lens, but I'm guessing it's powered by just, I don't know, Google search or something, but it will bring up all the websites where something similar is offered. So yeah, if you see I don't know, like a blue dress with white spots and you do a search in Google Lens, it actually gives you the web links and the brand names of everyone promoting or anyone that's got that type of content. I can't see that they're sponsored links, so I don't know if it's linked to Google Shopping. But yeah, that's one that we've come across very recently.
I've definitely used that before where I'm trying to track down an example is where a client might send an image that they want included on the site. And I mean, look, it's the client's responsibility in terms of copyright if they're supplying images. But there've been some times where I'm like, is this your image or is this?
Sure.
And you can use Google Lens to find out, is there anybody else that's using that same, exact same image? And you can kind of backtrack and go, oh yeah, that's legit. Or no, that's actually from somebody's actual website. You don't own that. Or you know, do you really want us to use that image?
Yeah, no, it's one that I've not come across. We're not like actively using it or anything, but I think we might start.
Yeah. Well, folks, thanks again for tuning in for another episode of LaunchPad. Hope you guys learned something about AI tools, maybe give you some homework and projects that you want to take a look at in your own time. As always, I want to thank Tina from Puzzle Media for joining us. Thanks again, Tina.
Thank you. I'm going to be away for a couple of weeks, so I will catch you on the flip side.
Don't forget that you can catch us on all of the major podcast network. If it's on your phone or on the computer and it shows podcasts, we are probably on it. So tune in next week for another episode of LaunchPad.